I'm Harrison Graham. Let's kick off this Bears Now mailbag with Bring Me Hendrickson. We got a Trey Hendrickson truther. Could the Bears cut DeAndre Swift and look to upgrade at running back? I've seen a little of this chatter online. Like when you see these articles like surprise cut candidates, like Swift gets mentioned. And look, I get it. His cap hits 8.8. You can save 7.5. Going into 2025, that felt obvious and like a no-brainer. Two guys I mentioned, I was like, they're not going to be back in 2026. Tremaine Edmunds, DeAndre Swift. And before the Edmunds injury, I was like, both might be back next year. And the way Edmunds finished, I think he does get cut, unless he takes a pay cut. But DeAndre Swift was pretty good all year. He's not great. He's not going to, be a bowling ball. And, there's some of those shoestring tackles where like, God, if you could get out of that one. Like, he definitely leaves big chunks out there sometimes. But I thought his vision was much improved this year. I thought he was just kind of a steady force in this offense. Obviously knows the scheme as well. And $8.8 million for a guy who had over 1,300 all-purpose yards, I don't think is unreasonable. Now, is Breece Hall a better player than DeAndre Swift? Yes. Is Kenneth Walker, when healthy? Yes. Travis Etienne, we've broken that down. I think that's kind of like the Spider-Man meme. Like, okay, it's pretty similar. And Swift this year was better than Etienne was, and both are in running back-friendly systems. How much is Breece Hall and Kenneth Walker going to cost? If you told me you cut Swift for $7.5 million and you get him for 10 or less per year, like, okay, like, yeah, I would think about that because you're only losing out a couple of million for a likely upgrade. But it's not like you're going from DeAndre Swift to Saquon Barkley or something like that. And you got to factor in that the draft is pretty thin at running back. Like, you're not going to get Jeremiah Love. Jadarian Price, do you want to spend a day 2 pick on that when you need defensive linemen? The point I've kind of made with Swift is like, is he perfect? No, but the year he came off of was maybe the best of his career. And unless you have a clear plan on who you're going to get to upgrade from DeAndre Swift, I don't think cutting him just to save the $7.5 million makes that much sense because he's a good player. And he's coming off a good year. So my guess is he's back. I would probably bring him back. Now, what you could do, and we saw the Packers do this a couple of years ago, is you could feel out free agency, and if you get a player you like at a contract number you like, you could then cut a player. Remember a couple of years ago, the Packers signed Josh Jacobs at a deal they liked, then they cut Aaron Jones. So, like, what if free agency opens and you can get Breece Hall for 2 years and $22 million, $11 million per year. And it's like, well, I like DeAndre, but like, I'll make that swap. Like, okay, like that could happen, but I doubt they preemptively cut Swift before free agency because he's an asset. Like, he's not a huge asset, but he's a solid player. Him and Monangai are a good 1-2 punch. If you run that back in 2026, I got no issues with that whatsoever. What should the Bears do with DeAndre Swift? Type K for keep or C for cut. I would keep him, barring a scenario like that were to open up. But if it was a loaded draft like last year, maybe I'd think differently. But I liked how Swift played this year. I think I would bring him back. Okay, TJ, could the Bears trade out of the first round? Absolutely. This is not a loaded draft with first-round talent. When the Bears pick at 25, they're probably not getting a player with a true round 1 grade. Now, sometimes guys slip. You never know. Yeah, if you could trade back to the mid-30s, which I did in my last mock, pick up like an extra third-round pick or something like that, I'd absolutely be open to that if I was Ryan Poles. Feels like kind of like last year, day 2 is the sweet spot of this draft. So if you can get an extra pick in that range, I would have no qualms, no issues with that at all. All right, Crisis King, I think you bring back Byard because he's a vet and a team leader. I think you trade your first and maybe a late-round pick and DJ for Crosby. Don't think that's enough. I don't think a first, a day 3 pick, and DJ Moore is enough because DJ is probably worth about a 4th-round pick. So, what, a first, a 4th, and a 5th for Maxx Crosby? Don't think he gets it done. You may not have to trade 2 ones, but you're probably looking at a first and at least a day 2 pick. I don't think that's quite enough. You could be, if you change that late round pick to like a 2nd round pick, a first, a 2nd, and DJ Moore, okay, that might be able to get you across the finish line, but even then, that is not a guarantee. Fellas, Valentine's Day is around the corner, and if you don't know what to get your wife, your significant other, hell, your mom, your whatever the case may be, get yourself some Bears Now Vita gear. Married into this. Sweatshirts, t-shirts available. Now, the sweatshirts are unisex, so you ladies watching, your fellas, if you've reeled them in as Bears fans, you can get them one as well. The t-shirts are for the ladies. Chatsports.com/Bears V-Day. Appreciate the response to all the merch over the last couple of years. By the way, if you want my shirt, chatsports.com/FGB. You can go check that out. Hoodies and t-shirts available for the FGB gear. But Valentine's Day is just around the corner. Get to shopping. All right, Will Williams, thoughts on Big Citrus. This is, of course, Dominique Orange, the Iowa State D-tack. I like him a lot. He's huge, good against the run, kind of a sneaky pass rusher, too, for his size. I think he's somewhere on day 2. 57 could be around the range he goes, which is where the Bears pick in the second round. I don't think he sneaks into round 1, but yeah, if you got him at 57 or certainly at 89, if he somehow got that far in the third round, yeah, I'd be pretty happy with that. All right, Dennis, should we monitor Vita Vea expiring contract plus age? So Vita Vea, let's see what he did last year with the Buccaneers. 4.5 sacks, played in all 17 games. He's been very durable for a defensive tackle. His last 5 years, 16 games, 14, 15, 16, 17. 35 career sacks. He'll be 31 next season. Let's see what his contract is looking like. So Vita Vea, this is via Spotrac. Final year of his deal, $17 million base. If you trade for him, that would be his cap at $17 million. So I don't think you would trade for him. But if they cut him, as I'm Googling on the fly here, give me just a moment, the Bucs would save $15.7 million if they cut him. So is he like a surprise cut for Tampa? Do they try to go younger on defense? You know, it kind of reminds me of like Grady Jarrett last year, right? People didn't expect him to get cut, and the Bears pounced on it, and there were mixed results. I think Grady finished the year pretty strong. I don't think you'd give Vita Vea like a 3-year deal like that. Maybe it's more like a 1 or 2 year deal, but he'd be a pretty damn good upgrade as a run-stuffing one-tech. That's for sure. I mean, you could argue if you add Vita Vea, he's instantly your best defensive tackle. So I'd be open to it. I don't know what the price would cost if he got cut. I don't think I'd trade for him, but yeah, I mean, he could kind of fit that mold of a surprise cut candidate across the NFL. We answer these questions every live show. Usually we go live every Monday and Thursday. Today's live show is on a Tuesday. We had a conflict on Monday, but live mailbags every Monday and Thursday, daily videos here on the channel, news, rumors, free agency, draft buzz, all kinds of stuff. So lock us in. We got you covered. Hit that subscribe button. All right, Carl, how much dead cap do the Bears eat if they cut Dayo Odeyingbo? So pulling up the Bears cap chart here. If they pre-June 1 cut Dayo, his cap hit is currently set for $20.5 million this year, which is brutal. If they cut him, it's $22 million. So it actually costs an extra $1.5 million. If they post-June 1 cut him, it goes from 20.5 to 17.5. So you only save $3 million. I think he's just one of those. You just got to bite the bullet and play it out another year. It sucks, but you can cut him in 2027. That's why I don't think he's a guy you restructure, because you want to get out of that deal next year unless he surprises you this year. So yeah, it's just kind of one of those where it's not a great contract. It's not, catastrophic, $20 million. It's not like it's $40 million, but it's not good. Barney, could Anthony Hill be a draft option if they trade back, upgrade running back by trading for De'Von Achane? Gosh, I don't even know what Achane would cost. Day 2 pick, maybe? Second rounder? That would be my guess. I don't know if this is the offseason to kind of go hunt for a big RB splash. It just feels like you're in okay shape there. Now, the caveat to that is Ben Johnson's your coach. He's always looking for big-time weapons offensively. So it wouldn't completely shock me. As far as Anthony Hill goes, yeah, he would be like a textbook trade down from 25, take him early day 2. I think 25 is a little rich for him. in the first round, but you never know. He'll be in that range of prospects, 20 to 50, that some teams will be higher on than others. But yeah, I'd much rather like trade down for him, get an extra pick, and then select him in the 30s. But yeah, he'd be a fun player, rangy player, really good downhill. You can use him as a blitzer, hit and miss in coverage, but he does have pretty good instincts. Okay, name a player you want in Chicago next year. It can be literally anybody that's not currently on the team. It could be a free agent. It could be a guy you could trade for. It could be a draft prospect. Who's someone out there that's not currently on the Bears that you want on the Bears in 2026? All right, we got time for a few more. We got Michael. What do you think about trading back and collecting picks based on how many needs we have and a low hit rate in late first-round defensive ends? It makes sense in my opinion. Yeah, it's been a theme today. I think, if there's a player you love there, you take him. If there's a few players you like, I would trade back. If there's someone you don't really love in that range, I'd be trying to trade back. Now, this could be a draft where trading back you don't get, dollar for dollar value. But we also thought that last year, and the Falcons gave the Rams a first-round pick to trade back in at 26 overall. So you never know. It only takes one team. Yeah, I think, like, if you're asking me today, would I rather trade up or trade back? I'd rather trade back. All right, Max, are you confident in Johnson, Stevenson, and Gordon if we lose N'Shawn Wright? Yeah, I think part of it is you just kind of have to be. I just don't think paying N'Shawn Wright north of $10 million makes a ton of sense based on what you need this offseason, and that's like your front seven and safety. Pretty much every other position. Look, I don't think you can go into this offseason banking on Jalen Johnson being an all-pro, but if he's healthy, I think you could say, okay, he's at least going to be a solid starter. I thought he slowly got better down the stretch. And I thought Tyreek Stevenson played well down the stretch. I think you can roll with him as your other outside corner. You should be getting Terrell Smith back into the mix. Zay Frazier's going to enter the mix here. You can sign the key is, can you find your next N'Shawn Wright, even if he's not a starter or that productive, just some cheap veteran that can come in, and if he needs to contribute, you can. Corner could be a sneaky draft target as well. Probably not early, but maybe in the middle or later rounds. So I think corner, while there are some questions, most of the questions are injury related. I think if your guys can stay healthy for the most part, you've got enough bodies. Gordon, to me, is the key. If he can stay healthy, I feel really good about him at that nickel spot. Jalen, if he's healthy, I think is at least a solid player. Still, you'd love to get the All-Pro version back. I'm not sure that's the case. And then Tyreek Stevenson, I'm still optimistic on. I still think he can be a good player. So yeah, I think you let N'Shawn Wright go. And while there are some questions, I think you got enough bodies there, and you could add a small piece or two. Okay, appreciate all the questions here. I'm all over social media. If you want to hit me up, at HGramNFL on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. I'm also on Facebook now. The easiest way to find me is if you're on the app, just search Harrison Graham Chat Sports, my name, and then the company I work for, Chat Sports. Or if you Google, enter the link, facebook.com/HGramNFL. You can find me there as well. There's not really handles on Facebook, but I was able to get that / link there. So trying to grow my new Facebook work account as well. So give me a follow all across the board. I would greatly appreciate it. We can talk more Bears football over there.